And welcome. You are with the Skeinz Diaries. I am Marie on Monday, 27th of February, episode 229. Welcome along, and thank you for joining us if you are coming along today. Few things to not too much to talk about today. I'll keep it short and sweet today, but I thought I'd give you some updates on how we're going with our flood relief. As you know, last week when I joined you, it was pretty emotional actually. It was all very, very raw, and we sort of had just had the first day back with power on and such, and we still have thousands here without power, so it's still not quite 100% just yet. However, we're now heading down another week. And I have to say today, over the weekend was the first time that I actually had sort of been out and wider to have not to deliberately have a look. Like the town, specifically in town, was largely unaffected. However, the suburbs and the areas just outside of town catastrophically affected, a number of them. So they asked, obviously, if you're not directly helping with cleanup, I mean, they don't want you clogging up those areas. So we've not been going out. I had to drive, however, to and from Havelock North on the weekend. So I cut through on the way back to get to the one road that at the stage was open between Napier and Hastings. That drove me through Parkify. So it's Parkify Road. And it's a road that we travel. Good morning, everybody. And it's a road that we travel quite often. There's a beautiful park there called the Parkify Country Park, and it's sort of known really as the Parkify Dog Park because it's an off-leash dog park. So it's literally where so many people from both cities congregate there to walk their dogs, and it's got a stream and it's really beautiful. And that is completely closed off. You can't get in there because of it's just too dangerous and damage. So I sort of drove past there, and then I went over the bridge because I can't remember which river that. I think it's the Narora, or was it Tutokuri? One of the rivers runs behind it. Went up over that river bridge to hit Parkify Road, and it's not a particularly long stretch of road from that bridge to the roundabout that's where the expressway is. And so you're only talking probably a stretch of road barely 2 kilometres long. But it's where Parkify Village, little Parkify villages, there's a little store, there's lots of sort of, orchards and lifestyle blocks and places along there. And it was like a war zone. It was, by the time I got to the roundabout, I was in tears. It was just so awful, and the cleanup is incredible. Like people are out there in each of these places trying to get things cleaned up, and everybody's sort of chipping in and doing what they can to help out. And so the first thing is a big thank you to everybody who have contributed, either sponsoring a pack, one of our yarn kit packs, or purchasing the Southland Miles, because every little bit helps. With the miles, and I'm going to talk about those in a little bit in a second, but with the miles, we've already raised, you guys have helped us raise almost $7,500 to go directly towards the rehab and the cleanup. So that is going to be allocated probably this week or next week, and we're really just so delighted with that. And there are still some miles available if you want to help contribute for that. And the packs, we've got the team been doing packs all last week, plus we actually dropped over a whole bunch of stuff at the mill for the mill to be able to do some packs across there as well. The mill, unfortunately, is not fully operational at this stage. The water restrictions because of the wastewater has meant that we can't operate a dye house, which is sort of kind of like for most processing that we do is in the middle of the process. So you have raw fibre that gets spun, and then the dyeing happens in the middle, and then you have finished board product at the end. So we've sort of come, particularly the teams from after the dye house and in finishing, have sort of ground to a bit of a halt because they've cleaned up all the work that they had there. So they're now on doing flood relief packs. So that's what they've been doing. Well, they've started doing this morning. And we've got so many sponsored now, plus the ones we're contributing, that we've now expanded our reach in terms of those flood packs. So not only are we distributing here in Napier, we'll now start distributing to wider Hawke's Bay. So, and Wednesday morning, I am flying up to Gisborne. Air New Zealand have opened up a direct service, Napier to Gisborne. So I'm flying up to Gisborne with all my luggage allowance in those packs, and we've got distribution set up to distribute up there too. So to spread the love from all of you, which is really wonderful. So thank you so much for that. It is just so hugely appreciated. And I know they'll appreciate it. Of course, for those who don't know, I'm originally from Gisborne, so a lot of my family is up there. I have a lot of very crafty aunties, and my mum worked in the rescue sector for over 25 years. So I've already got all of them onto where we're going to go, and they're calling it the Santa Plan, and they've already started mapping out the key places for me to be able to go and drop off those packs and where they will do the most good. So it's awesome. So it's really great. So I'm really looking forward to getting up there first thing on Wednesday morning. So that's sort of my movements there. So probably won't bring you a diaries on Thursday because I'll be on the road. And I'm not too sure. Not too sure on the data situation up there at the moment, and my parents don't have Wi-Fi, so I will just we'll see how we go. In terms of right here and now, we do still have some of the males available, and I just grabbed the 4 colours that we have available. And the reason, I love, as you know, Southlander. I've just finished knitting with the heathers, which I adore, and actually that's in the shop, that sample. These are the 4 colours that we have left. And in fact, one of my favourite ones is still here, which is this one here. This is Parkify, which is the area that I drove through over the weekend. And I love Parkify. And this yarn, if you're wanting to do some colour work or you're wanting to add it back with something, these are 2 of our heathers, Stornoway and Brigadoon. Look how good Parkify looks with that, right? Doesn't that look amazing? Those colours just look incredible. So because you may look at these and think, I don't quite know what I'm going to do with those. It can be a bit full on. But if you stripe it or do a bit of colour work, a bit of mosaic, a bit of slip stitching, use this actually in doing something like like the Goldwing, which I've done by Jennifer Steingast, which is some colour work. Sometimes the trick is, you can use this as an accent and with a lovely sort of deep solid colour. So that's Brigadoon and Glencoe, which look fantastic with Parkify. While I've got Glencoe in my hot little hand, the other one Glencoe looks really, really good with is this one here. This is Tamatea. And Tamatea is actually the next suburb over from us here in Onikawa. There you go. Look at that. Doesn't that look fantastic? I can just see those 2 in terms of doing some two toned colour work. Amazing, right? That would look so amazing. So that's both of those there. So that's Tamatea. Now, I also grabbed Tiawanga. Tiawanga is out on the coast. So that's Tiawanga there. And I grabbed Lake Blue because Lake Blue and Tiawanga are a little match made in heaven, as is Lake Blue and Whakatū now, which is in between Napier and Hastings. Also, there was some pretty decent damage in Whakatū as well, so that looks great. And of course, all of these look wonderful with just the plain old naturals. So there's charcoal and oatmeal. You can't go wrong. So there's loads of options. So if you've already got some of these in stash, some of the solid colours in stash, which I know a number of you have, those are some of the colours that you can actually mix and match with. I've been really impressed. Like, I've just finished my love note in the Highlander Heathers, and this really does soften up with a wash. If you're doing blankets, I think these make really fun blankets, particularly if you're crocheting too. Like, if you just want to do really simple, mindless comfort stitching, just my giant granny square blankets, which is just literally a granny square on steroids in these colours. Just they're so much fun, and they look great, and they just a really relaxing thing to do. So that is something that you can do if you're wanting to look for something with these, or as well as a knitted blanket as well. But those are still available. So we've got 4 colours left. We're now getting to the very end of the stock. And if I've done my numbers well, if we sell the last of the stock through, we should get to about $8,500 raised, which would be amazing. Hey, Michelle, I'm coming up in your way in a couple of days, I was just saying. So yes, those are still available. There are still some packs online. And as I said, I'm going to distribute some of those up into Gisborne this week. The girls are going to continue to distribute here locally. And if you are a local in, particularly in the wider areas, I know for some that were hit in Brain Engage, Central Hawke's Bay, or even out westish, particularly around sort of Piha Muriwai. If there is an area of need that you know, just give us a yell, and we can sort of lodge it in and see if we can get some packs out in those directions. We haven't yet quite worked. We're working on the knit-a-thon, but of course, obviously, we've got the epic sale between now and then. I can let you know that with the epic sale, it is going to go ahead. We have shimmied the dates a little bit. I'm not going to let you know what they are just yet, but is definitely going ahead. So I've been working on that all morning, actually. So we've sort of, honestly, it's like the best laid plans. You put all your plans together that you know that you want to do, and then you go to do it, and it just all turns into absolute custard, and you have to redo it again. Right. So there you go. Okay, the next thing I wanted to show you this morning is 2 things I want to show you. But the first thing is the much nicer thing. So of course I finished my love note, and I've also had a scarf sort of shawl on the go, which I've had it on the go for 6 months or more, and it's just my pick up, put down, what I call my purse knitting. I'll show you that first, actually. And when I finished the love note, I thought, actually, I'm probably about halfway through that, because it's just I've only had 100 grams, about just shy of 400 meters of this yarn, and the yarn was white gum wool, hand dyed by Nanuba, which is Australian, and I've had that in stash probably for about 10 years, and I thought it's a beautiful yarn, like it's so buttery soft, 16, 17 micron, Tasmanian merino. It's beautiful. So I just started knitting one of my Niadas, which I love because I've got the pattern memorized, and it's just really good, relaxing knitting. And when we had last week, when we had sort of cups of tea and open stuff here at the shop, I thought, right, Monday I'll grab my knitting. So depending on how we go, I've got it here to hang out as well. So I went in and I picked it up first thing in the morning, and so here's the thing, because I have to get up so early in the morning. I've got 2 teenagers to get off and out the door for school. One of them, but both are up early. In fact, at the moment, I've got to take one to a bus, an emergency bus, because the bus he normally takes isn't running because of the cyclone. So, I've got to have him out the door at 6:15 and dropped somewhere. So it's a long day, right? So I picked up all my knitting, and then I'm rushing around. I saw I had laundry that I needed to do, and I thought, right, I'll throw the laundry in, at least get that on. I can get my husband to hang it out for me, and rushing around. And I get to work, and I could not find my knitting anywhere, and I knew I had picked it up, and I knew I was bringing it, and I couldn't find it. And I thought, I'm just having old lady moment. I'm not going to worry about it. Get home that evening, forgot to tell my husband to hang the washing out, and I thought, I better get that washing out. Pulled out I went to go and open the washing machine, and we've got a front loader, so a little glass thing, and I saw my tape measure, and I thought, why is my tape measure in the washing machine? That's weird. Then I opened the washing machine, and then I saw this in the washing machine, which is my project bag. And then the penny dropped, and I had put in the washing machine by mistake my project. And there it is in all its felted glory. And this is like because this is so, look at the ball. Look at that. The cat, my dogs are going to love this because I'm actually thinking though I might put this in the dryer as a dryer ball for when I do dry stuff because apparently these are great for reducing static. So I'm told. But yeah. So just to go, and I looked. I mean, I couldn't even cry. I just laughed because I thought, oh, good grief! I know exactly, Bronwyn. Yeah, I was under a touch. It's been a bit of a couple of weeks, I tell you. So there it is. I can tell you that this fabric is beautiful, like so soft. It's so amazing. So look, look, the needle's still on there. I'm going to have to cut the needle out because I can't actually. It's felted so tightly that I can't. I don't even think I can. I did try, but no, I'm going to have to gently cut the needle out to get it out. But I left it like this to show you. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. I need to sort of figure out. I might have a bit of a play around with a bit of origami or something to see if I can make something out of a triangle piece of felted fabric with my little felted ball. So there you go. It happens to the best of us. So then, of course, I know, guys. I know it's crazy, right? So I got to the point where I couldn't bear to cast anything else on because I was just feeling Bronwyn, use it as a shop sample of not what to do. I know, right? So I sort of thought, right, no, I'm just going to leave that for a minute. And I didn't cast anything on at all last week. And then I had the best friend down to stay for the weekend. And my next project, I think I mentioned one of the things I wanted to do was my brother gave me a big cone of yarn that they picked up somewhere. I don't know where they actually got it from, but it was spun at Wool Yarns, which is down in Wellington. So I knew it was woolen spun. And I thought actually it'd be really nice to do something for him because it's a kilo cone. So I know that I will get a sweater out for him in that, or a vest, either or. So because it is a woolen spun, and here it is here. So that's it there. Yarn, ta-da! It's a really nice yarn. It's just a good classic natural woolen spun yarn. Very similar, slightly darker than our bracken in Southland. A similar handle to Southland. It's a great yarn. But being woolen spun and worsted spun sort of are slightly different. And I know what tension I get every time I coconut with a lot of our yarns. But, woolens can be slightly different. And I thought, well, actually, I'll do a swatch because then I know where I'm at. So I have an idea. One of the things I love is a beautiful, lovely. There it is. Can I pick that up? Ta-da, twisted rib. I think 1x1 twisted ribbing is a thing of beauty. So I wanted to do that. And I've done that on a 3mm needle because she's not the plumpest of DKs. Well, I'm assuming it's a DK. Didn't really have it on the inside. Well, it had it on the inside in metric, and I'm hopeless at converting these things back to text count. Anyway, it is a DK. I'm pretty certain at the lighter end of the scale. And then I knitted my swatch. There she is on 4mm needles and blocked that out over the weekend. And then I counted it up, and interestingly enough, it came out at 20 stitches per 10 centimeters. And it was really intriguing to see the relaxation. This is the difference. So worsted spun yarns, which is what we produce, is you have the twist in there, and it's a long fiber twist. So our yarns are quite dynamic in that sense. They're quite wingy and springy, and particularly if it's a coarser fiber, there's a lot of dynamism in the yarn itself. So when you go to swatch, and even when you wet block it, even though you get a level of relaxation, it's a pity I haven't got my there is still a little bit of give and bounce. Whereas this, being woolen spun, so short fiber process, as you can see, not quite as much. And it's relaxed a lot more than I was expecting. So relaxed to the point that 2 extra stitches, and that's on a 4mm needle. And that's the importance, you see, of blocking these things. because every yarn is slightly different in how it reacts. Now, part of the reason I've done this, of course, is that I'm making this up. I'm not using it. I mean, it's coming from the head. And before you all get excited, no, this is Marie come from the head. It will not be written down. I'll talk about it, but I'm not going to write it down because that requires, pattern writing and grading and all those things that I'm crap at, and I'm hopeless. So the majority of it I've decided is going to be stock and stitch. I have decided on twisted ribbing here. At this stage, I think I'm going to do a raglan sleeve, and I'm probably going to run those twisted stitches up the sleeve and then underneath at the sides, a sort of line of those twisted stitches, and then just keep the rest plain, and then probably a V. Well, actually, he's not really a V-neck guy. He does have V-necks, but I'm actually probably going to do a crew neck only because that's more him. And then I might even put with the sort of round neck. I may even put with the decreasing, just a small amount of decreasing there. I may actually do some nice little twisted stitches at the edges as those decreases, just to, give it. I don't know. I haven't really quite decided yet. And it's going to be a while till I get to that part anyway. And I'm likely to work it in the round until I get to the sleevey parts, and then I'll work backwards and forwards after that. So that is that's the plan. That's the plan, Stan, at this stage. So I've now got the magic number that I need to cast on, which is a good thing. And now with that magic number, I can at least get started. And to be honest, by the time I've done my ribbing and then started working on the body, that's going to keep me out of mischief for ages. And he's quite tall and lean, so I may need to talk to him. Might have to get him to. I use the best friend as the chest measurement because they're pretty much a similar size, almost identical actually. So I'm sort of fudging it. We'll see. The things we do, right? Crazy. So that's what I have been up to, but I do need to get something on the needles because I've even finished I do still have a scrappy crochet blanket, so I at least have one thing to continue working on. So that's probably about it in the next little bit. So I do need to get things together. I have had some inquiry about people wanting with knitting and different things. And being whether or not they can send stuff. With couriers and stuff are now working. We would prefer that you actually hold on to your bits and pieces just at the moment. They are still very much on the cleanup phase here, and that's why we're waiting probably another month or so until we collate stuff to get things replaced, because it's still very much in a state of flux. Slowly getting to normal, but it's going to be a long while before things get to normal. But at least, yes, it's 1 week at a time. But I will keep you posted on all of that. Anyway, closer to the time. Very good. Oh, Joe's just saying she did a beautiful twisted stitch colorwork sweater. Problem is on the inside because I began knitting in the main part of the body. It was the wrong side. Oh, I know. I mean, we all do things like that, right? We all do stuff that we're like, can't believe I did that. Crazy. There we go. But we get there. We get there on the big jobs. But it'll be good. All right, I'm going to keep moving because I want to keep getting stuff loaded up for Epic Sale. So yes, Epic Sale is definitely going ahead. Angela's saying simple color work ideas. Oh. These are well, in terms of simple color work, one of the things that I love slip stitch color work, and you can't actually, Angela, one of the things that I find work really, really well is depending on whether you want to do ferrule color work or mosaic color work. But often the trick I find is you can do things with bands. So like whether you're adding a band to a hat or using it as an embellishment on different things. So at the moment, there's lots of these large yoked projects that are out there and are really amazing. But sometimes we just want to do something that's really simple around the base of something, whether it be the base of a sweater or cuffs on a collar. And I've got, if you can, hold on, let's just see if oh, there we go. Yes, it is. There's loads. Marie's Book of Wonders. You can get lots of different books out there, and I mean the Montrico stitch guides, which you can quite often pick up at op shops. This is one that I picked up a number of years ago, and I think actually I've got another one. This is the other one too. And there's another one there. So these are relatively modern. And actually this one here is for knitted blocks and motifs. And what's great about this is when it comes to colour work, you can use things. So this has got your usual sort of stitch guides and blocks, just like a Montrico, and a lot of those old stitch dictionaries. And so this is essentially a stitch dictionary. But the difference with this one is it's also got little charted blocks. So you can then add different things to it. So, for example, there's a couple of simple, straightforward Fair Isle blocks that you can do, and then you can add, so like you could add something like this, a repeat of that, at the bottom of a project to actually give it a little bit of zhuzh. And there's loads of them. See? So these sorts of books are, I think, worth their weight in gold. I mean, both of these books I picked up, literally, I picked both of these books up in clearance, like clearance tables. Libraries often have them. This one at the back of this book, this is more stitch dictionary ones, but it does have multicolored ones where you can actually combine a couple of colors in there, which those sorts of motifs work really, really well if you're wanting to combine the two lots of yarns that we were talking about there. So there we go, just different textured reliefs. So if you've got some of the old stitch dictionaries, dig them out, because there's lots of different inspiration you can have. And that's why I have these, and I refer back to these all, if you could say actually, I refer back to them all the time. So those are the sorts of things that if you do see these out and about, even at a secondhand bookshop or at a local bookseller, having these actually in your library is a really, really handy thing. So, and then you can start working, and then you can create your own colour work. But I've got a hat, actually, if you have a look at my Ravelry profile, which is just my surname, I've got a hat called the Harding Road hat. And I also have another one called I think I called it Buskie's Best Babies Beanies or something like that. But the Harding Road hat has got a stitch pattern on it, a slip stitch pattern, which is sort of kind of like it's like if mosaic knitting and linen stitch had a baby. It's sort of got a wrapped stitch plus a slip stitch. Super easy, uses 3 colours, and it creates sort of like a slightly tessellated triangle. And I did actually design a cowl and did a whole bunch of stuff. And then the writing it up went on the round to it plan, you know me. But that Harding Road hat, that stitch pattern, I repeat that a lot because it's easy to work, it looks really effective, it's great for using up scrappy bits of colour, and it looks great around sort of the base of things. I've actually even I've done a whole cowl in it. I did a couple of vests for my sons when they were wee little, they're big stinky teens now, but that's actually quite a neat little pattern, and it's a multiple of 4 plus 3. So that means that you whatever stitch count you need 4, a multiple of 4, and then 3 extra stitches at the end. So that one's actually a little bit fun. So it's all good. So there we go. Oh, yeah, Adele, I hope the rain isn't too bad today. I'm worried about Gisborne because they're expected to get it a little bit heavier than us. I think we are, when I checked Met Service this morning, I think we're sort of expecting to get about 20 odd mils overnight. But it wasn't so bad here on the weekend. It was pretty wet Friday night, and then it sort of eased off, and then it sort of came in again. No, it was pretty wet. Yeah, Thursday, and then sort of came in and squally on Friday, and then it got really heavy, and then it stopped, and then it came in, and it's just so difficult for the guys and gals cleaning up all the silt, because of course you need the silt to be dry to a certain level to be able to either tractor it or scoop it or digger it out, because if it's the silt is almost like corn flour. It's that sort of texture. It's very, very, very fine. And if you know what oobleck is, which is that thing that your kids used to do in science class, where your the ratio between moisture and solid is to a point that whilst it's still technically a liquid, if you were to poke it and press it, it's hard. And that's what we're at the moment for a lot of these workers. That silt is sort of at that oobleck-y stage, like you can't digger it away because it's still liquid enough that it just, whatever you take out, it will replace it, and then they'll just get it dried out, and then you have like the rain that we had, and that's just enough to moisten it all up, and they're trying to scrape away from trees and stop orchards from suffocating and stuff like that. So there you go. It's a thing. So hopefully, it's not too bad over the weekend. Right. Oh, Louise is saying she always twisted stitches. Yeah. So, and it's really interesting. I know some people that learn, particularly with stocking stitch and doing knit stitch, were taught to always knit to the back of the stitch, which obviously automatically twists it. And often too, when I see people like that, because if they're working flat, they will twist the knit stitch but not have a twisted purl stitch coming back. So you actually would almost get your stocking stitch would have a slight herringbone look to it, which actually in itself is quite effective. Okay, I'm going to stop talking because I need to get things done. Thank you for joining me today. Let's confirm that I'll be back next Monday, because I don't think I'm going to be able to get connectivity to come talk to you on Thursday, because I will be in Gisborne. But hopefully I'll be able to get some pictures and share those for you on social media anyway. Until then, have a great rest of week, and I'll see you next week. Take care.